of those grand finals. All right, Fish, I'm going to tally some points. You take our intro away, will you?
Yeah. So again, we're looking at excuse me, we're looking at the teams to qualify, and we've talked about WSSS being the team to get there. Before we calculated the points, 2,840, they'll get about 150 more, so they'll be above Gal team, but that's irrelevant at this point. Neck and neck against Fate, but Fate, they're not falling behind WSSS. Yes, they've placed third twice in a row now, but WSSS only placing second and getting 4 frags in comparison to 3 that Fate had means they only get 40 points extra. They need to close that gap quite a sizable amount. It's very similar to the starts we've seen top of the island in Observatory as well as Training Island. We've got 2 of the tire teams fanning out. Exactly the same looting pattern. You can see Team 15 spread out as 4. Individual looting across the northern side of the Observatory. And that should be Pirate Team that's at Observatory. Their signature 3-1 split with their 1 player moving towards Training Base. We've actually seen teams punish this before. And the most central play zone we've seen in a long time. Every single team is within touching distance of the first play zone. Nobody's going to be forced out. Nobody is going to be struggling to get into the zone itself. Everybody will be in for that first zone. Should mitigate a lot of the early fights we get. We should see less teams outside the play zone for an extended period of time. Most people are just going to be playing inside the play zone due to the fact that we have large play zone covering more central parts of Gili Island for this 4th map. 5th map coming in with me, we can actually tell everybody how many points teams will need after this game in order to qualify, or if there's a certain team that needs a beat, or if there's a certain series of events that need to happen. We'll find out shortly. 2 players have dropped already coming into Gili Island for this match. We didn't get to catch the action, but here is AL once again dropping at Echo Valley. They've always been dropping here. AROV have been having a fantastic time because they always drop at Echo Valley and they say, you know what? If AL want to fight us, we'll give them a fight. It's an extra 40 points that they've been happy to pick up in so many of the matches we've seen, not just today, but over the course of the regional clash. And it's been a disappointing showing from AL once again. They had a very disappointing showing last season in the regional clash, and this season again, not stepping up to the plate, not performing the way that we expect a team of their caliber to. Again, it's not like they qualified last out of Indonesia. They've actually qualified as one of the top 2 teams, and currently sitting dead last for the Indonesian teams and second last in the tournament overall, only behind Road to Victory, one of the Southeast Asian general teams.
All right, Fish, I am back, and I have computed all my numbers, crunched them all on our official Rules of Survival Global Series mathematics machines. So coming back at you, what we have that's changed a little bit, we actually have some of the teams in the top starting to leapfrog the teams that have already played all their matches. Again, it doesn't matter because of placement, but just for bookkeeping, AROV are now sitting in 6th place, whereas we've seen the likes of Fury Roads and Fire Rose actually fall down to 10th and 11th. Ezio Gaming number 1, solidifying their positions and moving up the ladder a little bit. Pirate Team is in number 12 currently with 3,415 points, and Will Clubs, you were mentioning, who've already played, are in 13th place. So they're getting closer and closer to that danger zone of getting knocked out. Pirate King are still behind them, but only by 10 points. Fate are still in 15th place, and they're actually only 100 exactly off of Pirate King. So they definitely have a real chance to overtake them. I think the bubble getting super, super tight around 16, 17, 18 because WAFFF have crested 3,000 points, and that's allowed them to get within spitting distance of Fate. But, of course, for other Indonesian sides, it's a little bit rough right now. You have Just Call Me kind of sitting at 2695, so just below that 2700 mark. So they're still very far away. Nara obviously had a really rough round, so they didn't pick up too many points. Now Baby Junior's breathing down their neck. And that's kind of where we're at.
Unless WSSS score 50 points in this map and then Just Call Me win 2 back-to-back victories, or Nara do, it's over for those 2 squads. WSSS have a legitimate chance to take top 15. They need 150 points in each of their maps, and they will successfully do so regardless of Fate or Pirate King's outcome. They would take the top 15 spot, as they will overtake Will Clubs. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for WSSS to get enough points to get a spot for Indonesia to show that, you know, the region's not dying. They haven't grown, but they're not dying. Still in the exact same spot as they were before joining this regional clash.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, they don't necessarily have to take in top 15, but it is definitely more impressive to do it. For teams like Fate and Pirate King, they have to kind of doubly sweat it now because they need to put enough distance between themselves and WAFF, or rather enough distance between themselves and the teams just above them. But the most likely team to really get knocked out at this point is going to be Will Club, since they're not able to get any more points in the next 2 rounds. But they're still 350, or about 300 points above the edge of that bubble.
It's sad. This will be the second time in a row that Will Clubs have been the team that gets eliminated from the tournament. That 16th spot if it happens. Same thing happened last split where everyone was watching to see if Will Clubs would maintain their spot, but after game 2 was confirmed that they were being denied.
They've made it farther this time. You know, we've only got 2 rounds left. Remember, 300 points is a pretty significant amount because you pick up, you know, only 225 for getting first place plus your frag points. So it's entirely possible that Pirate King, Fate, WAFF, they don't pick up near enough there in 2 rounds. But no other major standing shifts. Down for the teams that are below them, though, the Indonesian sides of Just Call Me and Nara Esports and Baby Junior. It is going to be real tough to break through that barrier at this point. You need to seriously make up a huge amount of points.
And just like the North American series, the math adds up. You need about 140 points per map to qualify for a grand finals. It seems to be the reoccurring number. If you consistently get 140 points, you will qualify for the grand finals. And this again shows how strong Medstrat is. You get 175 points for a second place finish. You get 150 points for a third place finish. And 130 for a fourth place finish. So, with that in mind, Medstratting would get you fairly close to 140 points. All you had to do is get a single frag and get 4th place every single map, and you would win. Realistically, that's very easy to achieve with proper Medstratting. And over the course of 25 games, even if you drop 2 to 3 maps from it, you're still fine. And that's assuming that you get 0 kills as well, which is never going to be the case. You always pick up 1 or 2 frags somewhere. There's not a single team in this tournament that doesn't have a frag to their name. All of them have at least 5 or 6. At the very lowest end of the table, RTV probably having the lower share of frags to their name. AOV are moving away from the Chemical Depot. Road to Victory are moving away from the Chemical Depot. Singing AOV for a second. Just one of the players does have a different clan tag from the other, taking the AROV clan tag. But they've only loaded in with 3 players for this match.
Yeah, unfortunately, they only going with diminished numbers, but for RTV, it's really only about trying to get as many kills and show off a little bit of swagger before you take a bow and exit that tournament. HCL Gaming, though, this is one of our teams that has solidified their position at number 8. Still has a chance to actually pass the likes of Bren Esports. They're even technically challenging AROV at this point. I think it's entirely possible they could end up placing within the top 5 going forward. Number 1, not too far behind them either, but ETO have had an absolutely incredible series of rounds here. Speaking of number 1, there they are. Got Terrorist under fire. Usually, as usual, the last remaining member, or not the last remaining member, but one of the few remaining members of AL.
At least you're actually blowing up a car there. So Dark Frost getting eliminated first.
Holy moly, they've actually been living quite a lot in most of these rounds, but Dark Frost just get wiped.
Dark Frost getting wiped, and ECO would get the first squad wipe of the game. We actually didn't have any early action until that point. 9 minutes in, the first frags come out.
This was more like what we expected from an SCA game. Today's games have been certainly an aberration because of the mad scramble for points at the last minute. We usually do see these slow burn games where there aren't a lot of skirmishes in the early stages. In fact, not a lot of action until 20 minutes plus in general. I talked about members of AL getting down. They've actually still staying alive for now. And we'll see how long that lasts, though, with number 1 sniffing around here at Thermal Power.
There's Terrorists from Black and Terrorists and Black from AL. They Again, this team keeps making the very basic mistakes that you shouldn't be making at the highest level of competitive play. And it's cost them way too much. They can't qualify. So they're just playing for brownie points here. They knock out one member of number one. A few good shots coming out from AL here. Number one actually falling slightly, but AL taking as much as they give. Black's going to go down. There's only one player left, and that's Terrorist, who's been watching this entire time.
Yeah, he's just been sitting on that high ground. Number one will sniff around. This does seem to be like the AL game plan. They lose 2-3, and then they just have one guy hide as best he can, but Terrorist does get spotted. Nice bunny hop there. So, number one able to pad a few more stats, and that's pretty big. Once again, this is the team that is trying to keep their scores up. They've already passed the likes of the Vietnamese squads of Fury Roads and Fire Rose. But number one's not a team we're worried about falling out of it. They're in pretty solid shape within the top 10.
Oh, they're in very solid shape. Number one doing pretty well for themselves.
Ezio as well, in a team just above them. Let's take a look at some of our other squads. AROV, not in any real danger either. Even if they were to drop out of the top 15, they are far and away the highest point scorers from Southeast Asia General. And at this point, I don't think it'd be possible to drop out of the top 15. So they're taking a victory lap here. Into the car they go, out of the car they go, looking for some extra damage on to Pirate Team. They find one. Roger's still sitting behind that house, and it looks like they're actually going to trade a lot of blows for blows. Oh, my goodness. Small Boy goes down as well to Mansum. This is an all-out brawl.
It's a big rocket coming out from Boyka. He's able to get that single rocket out. Takes down the truck as well as a few of the players.
That's actually pretty unfortunate for Pirate Team. The fact that they lose so many members early on. This is one of the teams that is actually in a bit of danger.
Still throwing out the RPGs here. Has a few more shots, so he might have only one shot left. He only had 3 rockets to his name. Pirate Team watching helplessly as Ryong is bleeding out right next to the enemy. Boyka standing strong for the moment. Rockets still being shot out. They do damage through walls, but not a significant amount. You see Valentine takes a hit. He's got more than 3 rockets here as well, so we can keep firing away. He might just peek out to try and get the kill into Ryan, but he should just let him bleed out.
Boyka still bunny hopping. There it goes. And Rocket not going to find Mansum. Too far behind. Okay, we are at only 13 eliminations here. 12 minutes into this game. It has been a slower one than today's games, as Rayong does get finished off to the Molotov. No chance for anyone to sneak up and res him.
Grenade being thrown out by Pirate Team. Just a smoke grenade obscuring his vision.
Hey, just lobbing grenades back.
Oh, look at Valentine. Valentine sneaking out. She's looking for an angle against him. More grenades being lobbed as well by Law Pro. Finding a flank on the right side wall. That was a flashbang he threw out.
Okay, too far away from each other, really, to do any damage from the grenades. Boyka's still waiting behind this car. This is a very long-range standoff. It's the only action happening across the map in general. For the time being, we are looking like another more typical Southeast Asian rules of survival match.
The standoff has been going on for so long. And this is kind of what you see in Southeast Asia. You won't see them running at each other. You won't see them making any crazy moves. Just once the initial fight stops and you get into a stalemate, it's going to stay as a stalemate for some time.
Until the green zone encroaches. And it's still only
which it has.
Play zone 3 now.
Yeah, but it doesn't deal much damage. So AROV will get a move on.
Yep. They're fortunately already within the next barrier, so they just make their way over to Bitter Lake. We haven't talked about the circle that much this match. Much more about the points and where they stack up, but with Bitter Lake being kind of the center, or at least one of the big areas encompassed by our current play zone, means that I think it'll probably be one of those slower ones. Oh, and some driving away in the car does take a bit of damage on the way out.
That's why the RPG's a really good, effective weapon. I mean, you have to be somewhat skillful to hit a truck or a moving vehicle with it, because the rocket is a little bit slow. Explosive crossbow bolt would have been there instantly. Not going to be
but
the
that
case.
would be busted.
Here they come back again.
Wow.
He's just fishing for them now, Boyka.
I think he's the one getting fished. It looks like he's going to get taken down. Mansum getting that damage onto Boyka. LawPro actually dropping as well. So AROV losing a lot of members here. That's pretty big. Now, Call Me actually picking up a lot of members of Fate on the opposite side. Now, this is one of those teams that's on the outside looking in, the bubble. This is pretty big for them, especially because they took down members of Fate who are also kind of on that edge of qualification.
AROV losing both their players to Pirate Team, who decided that enough was enough. They went aggressive, picked up the truck, and ran straight towards them. See, despite us having the central circle, we still have a good 5 teams that are outside the current play zone.
Yep. We'll start to see them moving a little bit closer, especially the ones on the eastern side. The ones at Thermal Power might be committing to that med strat. That might be, I think that might be Ezio. Or number 1, not 100% sure. Looking like one of the Thai teams. Baby, they're going to be holed up in this house on the other side of the lake. You can see that War of Elite is slowly creeping along the bridge here. Ezio coming in from the backside to find the remaining RTV and AROV members. So we could have a multi-team fight here on the edge of Bitter Lake.
Still about 7 minutes or so till we get the big firefights, but we'll get a couple of teams fighting now just for the bits and pieces of positioning. Here's one of the skirmishers. Ezio taking some shots from that.
Yep, moment he peeked, stuck out too long. Here's Just waiting outside, keeping the riot shield up. So if that's Ezio, I think number 1 is the team that's med-stratting or looking to. Now we see WAFFF occupying canals. They have a lot of players that they can see from here. Very far away, though. But they're well within the circle. Very safe spot for WAFFF to hang out in. This is why this is going to go on for a little while.
This is going to be a story of most of the play zone here. That's a good grenade coming out.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid one. And now all of a sudden, War of Elite's starting to make a run for it. Baby doesn't actually find anybody but ANEP. That's a good down, but it's not enough. Nobody's died in the last 4 or 5 minutes here. 43 players still alive on the map.
Baby just holding position against WOE. ANEP will get picked back up. I think Baby's down member will get picked back up shortly as well. This is a very risky flank coming out from one of the players.
Oh, Baby's going to lose one. Yep, that was a risky flank, but it looks like it's starting to pay some dividends. That's 1 down. Do they get 2? Yes! 90's going to get dropped. Winter turns around a little bit too late to see that his teammates are pretty much all down here. And if Winter gets down, that's going to be the it for Baby.
It's all over. That was a stupid flank coming out from Baby. No idea why they would decide to leave the house to push a team that they already had pinned down.
That might be it for Baby's tournament hopes. This is the team in 21st place. And they just got outgunned. Only 1 more round left to play. Baby have had a very disappointing day.
This is why they won't. This is why the team's not going to make it out. They keep making really silly mistakes. That was a risk that wasn't needed to be taken. You had the positional advantage. You had the structural advantage. You could defend the structure rather easy. All they had to do was sit and relax and be patient. And patient, not one of their strong suits. They pushed out, and I'm okay pushing out for flanks when it makes sense, but you look at where they're pushing out. The only thing they had for cover there was the ridge. And they're running to the other side of a ridge, so when you get to the engage, you're going to be out in the open against a team that's already been there for some time. So you're hoping to run into a 1-on-4 and catch all 4 players by surprise, which in the first place, that's not going to happen. Any competent team's going to have 1 player watching that direction. And second, you put yourself in a situation where even if you catch them by surprise, you need to kill all 4 players before they turn because you have no cover for yourself when you're taking that flank. There's no wall to lean out of. There's nowhere to duck back behind. You're out in the open when you take that flank. And what made it worse was Baby trickled in 1 by 1. All 3 players just lined up in a row.
Speaking of lined up, Mashiro just got himself a 3K knockdown. And he took out, it looked like everybody from Call Me.
Call Me falling as well, so Two teams that were behind W8FFF. It's gonna take a miracle for them to come back in.
We haven't seen anything from Nara this game. We don't even know where they are actually, if they're still alive. I didn't see them falling, so they should still be in this. But oh, there's one. Lin. See Fnatic on the opposite side, hiding behind their on-fire truck. It looks like Khaleesi's actually going to go driving away, along with Lin and the rest of the team. They're looking to gun it for a safe spot, cruising, hopping into this house on the edge of the play zone. So Nara, desperate charge with 2 members. Don't know where the other 2 are if they're still up in this game.
It's ECO again with 4 players. Everyone's making their way in towards this next zone. ECO got a very good spot in terms of location of the play zone. They're in the center, but not the best of spots to defend. See a couple of players are holding on to the garage as trying to get as much of a vantage point as possible with the second floor.
See Fnatic on that top of the hill, though. They're going to see all this movement. Still exposed spots, so it's hard for them to peek out. Aaron is in the house downstairs, so not all of Fnatic is grouped up. Mashiro going to get caught in the sights of CT, but they cruise away. They're in a vehicle. Easy enough for it to happen. CT has no fear here as he runs. Chicken grenades were flying in his general direction. And he actually makes this entire squad kind of move away. Pirate King not taking any chances. This is one of those teams in danger of dropping out. It's currently sitting in the 14th place. Mackie chugs that energy drink. Look to flank around.
Still waiting for this zone to close in a minute before it starts, and that's when we get the big brawl that takes place. This play zone is where all the teams start to collapse and start to fight. A couple of houses inside, but fairly open area, and in close to a road. It's the calm before the storm. This is where all the teams just sit and wait. They're comfortable in their current positions. They don't have to move now. But some of them are going to be forced out of their position once this circle finally collapses. 40 seconds until it does just that.
You talked about Ezio's great position, and seriously, right in the middle, have themselves a 2-story house. Easy enough for them to defend this. Almost no chance the circle's going to close in on them again, and they have a ton of time to work with. Ezio definitely making a name for themselves here. I'm looking forward to seeing their performance in the grand finals, representing Thailand. Pretty much the second best Thai team at the moment. I think #1 is trying to take that spot from them, but while Fnatic might be far and away the best, that's not the only thing. Not the only team certainly making good plays. We saw W8FFF still in these canals. They're going to have to move soon, but they are on the edge of the play zone, so they are able to actually hang it out for a while. And W8FFF, remember, they need frags as well as placement. Put that distance between them and the other teams. With Call Me falling down, the only other Indonesian squad that'd be gunning for them in this round would be Nara, but that's still a 400-point difference.
Oh, Member's getting taken down. Vorik's going to go.
All right, Vorix is out. Fnatic can't be too busted up about that. Trying to turn some attention over to the remaining members of Fnatic. Gets a little lit up for a second. Mashiro's had a pretty solid day as well. I think just as an individual performer, he's had some impressive frags.
Yes, Mashiro's had a decent day for himself. Pirate King were a team that was on the verge of potential elimination, but the performance today has been good enough that it doesn't have to happen. He's
definitely been one of the players that is carrying the weight and then some. Looks like we saw NF just getting out of the car. Nemesis actually going to run straight into a hail of bullets from C. Maro, yes, rest of Ezio. They're going to defend their home here. Let's see if they're going to be able to hang tough to this. It's going to be plenty of damage. NF do get a few members knocked down, but Ezio still hanging onto this house, and they actually move around fluidly to try and get some downs here. NF losing a lot of members.
Yeah, this sucks if you're Ezio. You controlled this territory, and now it's being overrun by everyone that wants to get into the only compound in the final play zone.
Mac is going to be able to find out the 2 members of Nara looking for a shot onto Khaleesi. He gets him down, and Lin's going to have to get out in a hurry as that car is getting close to blowing up. Lin is the last member standing, gets into cover just in time, but leaves Khaleesi for dead.
Lin doing what he can there. I mean, take it down very low. Khaleesi still crawling back towards that area. Mac doesn't have to move too far to get into the next zone. Has a little bit of cover there by the hill. And blow up that truck, so nothing Nara can do anymore. They can't drive into the zone.
It looks like Khaleesi actually was able to crawl back towards Lin, so should get back on his feet, but very low. And still there's the sights for Mac right now. This could be the end of Nara's tournament hopes.
Still holding on as a duo. They've got a lot of points they need to catch up for.
Oh, get to the tuk-tuk! No, he runs! It's Lin who's going to get down, and now Khaleesi's isolated.
He's underneath the truck as well. They can see that. Mac knows exactly where he is.
Oh, boy. All right, he's just going to blow up the tuk-tuk. No chance for them to get away.
Let's make it as difficult as possible for Khaleesi.
Oh, Mac does get tagged, though, from the outskirts. Looking around the backside, it looks like it was Khaleesi that did some damage. And he's going for a run now, so this might be the second chance for Nara if they can actually stay alive here. Meanwhile, a couple of members of WAFF losing their lives. That's aggressive that went down, one of the heroes of last round.
That's how you play that. Khaleesi did very well. Mansum.
Yep, so Mac loses his sights and now has to turn around because Yanflux was there. And it looks like Nepter and Max going to both meet their doom. I always wanted to say that.
Mashiro is actually able to turn around and get that kill onto Yanflux earlier. Now we've got ECO still inside this compound. The circle has shrunk once again, and it's closing in on this exact location.
Ooh.
22 players still left in play zone 7 that's coming up.
Oh, the hits keep on coming. It looks like Khaleesi got downed by Mansum. Should be one more remaining member if he does die. No, he's still actually staying alive here. Yanflux gets finished off by Mashiro. Once again, this Pirate King clutch player. And it looks like Khaleesi and Lin are down, so that's going to be it for Nara. They're going to be losing their lives, and I think that might mathematically knock them out of the tournament. We'll have to confirm that later on. But back into the action here. We're already down to 15 players as this play zone continues to shrink down. Ezio looking like the strongest squad at the moment. Pirate King staying in it, though. Short range grenade.
Smoke grenade to give them some cover as they move in towards that only compound. Only one compound is remaining, and that's the one that Ezio have held up in.
And Ezio, they got in nice and early. Ainep gets tagged, nearly gets taken down. Arvalite still active in this one. Roll crawling on the ground. Close calls, grenades, firecrackers, smokes coming in from all angles. Ezio trying to defend their home.
Jumps out, finds a free kill, jumps back in.
Yep, might as well. Pad those stats.
13 players left. ECO have 4 of them inside the final circle.
Oh, this looks like it's going to be an ECO round, pending a massive RPG inside the house.
Circle's moving again in 20 seconds. It's going to bring it into the final play zone, which is 8. Then it just engulfs the entire map.
Here we go.
Firecrackers work there. They get Gwen.
It's going to force a mad dash. Mansum in the sights of Shibuya, and now the invaders are turning on one another.
Mansum getting caught out in the open there. Shibuya has to start managing his time with this zone. He needs to start moving in if he wants to try and contest. If not, he's going to be stuck outside med stratting. Zone is closing in once again. Ezio holding onto the compound. War of a leader in there as well. And up as well as Mao, both inside.
Oh boy, War of Elite and Ezio. This is going to be where the final fight will probably happen. Pirate King. Shibuya is trying to hang tough and heal up, but that green zone deals a lot of damage on play zone 7. And Shibuya makes a run for it. Into the house he goes. That's going to be real cramped in there.
Not even healing it. Shibuya just bouncing around. Might be able to get some meds from that dead body, but now spotted out by ECO.
Yeah, just is wrapping around. Shibuya doesn't see him, or does he? That's one
Good
tag.
shots.
Now he knows.
Shibuya, he can't. He goes out the side of the zone and dies to the zone itself. So 4 members of ECO inside this final zone. Lots of players dying outside. You can see one player is actually driving his way in. Valentine from Pirate Team.
All right.
Not for much longer. So only one other player left. ECO will take first place. And final player is Mao from War of Elite. That's just outside the zone. Now finally falling. And a big finish for ECO. They held on to that compound and they got the luck of the zone at the very end.
They did, but they certainly used it to their advantage. So Ezio take that first place. War of Elite will roll into second. Pirate Team actually come out third because of the good placement of their player outside the zone. And then Pirate King actually coming up with a 4th place finish. So that's actually really good for the 2 bubble tie teams that were trying to hang on to their lead. Following them, of course, is going to be number 1. So once again, it's